I was going to bring you a review of the EVGA GeForce RTX 3050 or a review of the Power Color Radeon RX 6500 XT. I couldn't do anything because I was panicking. My main machine, my workstation, or where I would have edited this video, died. So I went nuts. I came in on Thursday, went to power it on, nothing turned on. Called EVGA, went through a bunch of steps, nothing worked. It was an EVGA Z390 dark board. It lasted me 3 years. It did great. Their warranty is going to cover it. But the problem is I don't have anything till that point. So I had to rush and buy stuff. I'm not going to use stuff people send me for review for my personal workstation because I have to keep circulating that in different reviews. So I had to actually go out and buy stuff. So I have a list of all the components down below if you want to check it out, but I have that machine right back here. Now, in my usual videos, on my build videos, I walk you through each and every step. I talk to you about everything I'm doing and why I'm doing it. In this video, it's completely different. I don't walk you through any of that. Maybe I'll talk a few things, but I'm trying to build that. So I'm going through everything quick, building the machine, wire management, installing Windows, drivers, updates, all that good stuff. I do that in this video and I try to compact it as much as possible. I talked to you a little bit through it, but not like I normally do. I did build a machine just like this and I'll have links down in the description, the end cards and a card in the video as well so you could check out. But anyway, let's get started. I need to edit this video and then get to these guys. Let's do it. So start off the build by installing the processor. Now we'll go ahead and take off these plastic clips since we will be using liquid cooling. And always save the screws and the brackets. You never know when you may need them later. Just put this stuff in the motherboard box. These plastic pegs for the thermal paste comes with MX5. Just put a dot pea size in the center. Just drop it in place. Not 100% screwed down, but enough that it'll stay in place without falling around and moving around. And now we'll just go ahead, tighten them in now that everything's in. All right, now very important, remove this off of the cold plate. Move this out of the way for right now. And now we're going to go ahead and place these little clips along the side, outward facing, right into the screw hole. Then repeat the process on the other side. Grab the motherboard, and now we'll place it with the VRM fan facing up and just drop it right into the screw holes. For AMD, it's a little bit easier because they want you to use these outer screw holes so you don't have to worry about the combinations for the Intel ones. Not screwing them in all the way, just diagonally by hand. This one being the last one we can screw in. All right, so let's go ahead and install the RAM. First, we'll loosen these up on the second and fourth slots and just drop them in, and they'll go ahead and lock on their own. Easy enough. Now for this, the liquid cooling ARGB connection, and for the pump is going to go on the fan pump header. Then we need to find an ARGB header for the ARGB lights on the fans. Of course, none in a good spot. So I'm gonna go ahead and use one down here on the right-hand corner of the motherboard. I'm gonna have to figure out how to make that look nice. I may change it a little bit later on. Yeah, that looks really horrible right there. So for right now, it's gonna go right over here. And let's go ahead, take off this heatsink to install the solid rocket plus M.2 SSD. We're not going to go ahead and use the heatsink for this guy, since this already has a heatsink, or is a heatsink. And last time I used this board, I screwed that M.2 screw in the slots. If not, it's in the motherboard box. And actually what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm going to put in the other M.2s that I have. Normally I don't, I do that afterwards. I've had a few of you ask me about this actually, so I figured let me go ahead and do it. These are just older M.2 SSDs I have that I still use. I love the way they implemented these heat sinks. Actually, I don't even need the M.2 screws for these. I need it for this one, because this screw is the M.2 screw. I did a good job designing this board. For this one, we will need it. Now, I'll know the difference when I install Windows on these, because these already have partitions. This will not. All right, so that's everything for the board. Let's go ahead and put this inside the case. So I'm thinking I'm going to, of course, put the motherboard here, but I'm going to remove this. This little shroud is to help for cable management, but I'm going to remove this because I'm thinking about putting the liquid cooling unit maybe right here. Not sure, but if anything, if it doesn't fit here, I'll put it right along over here. We're going to go ahead, drop the liquid cooling radiator wherever we wanted to put it. Didn't mean to drop it. And then we'll drop our motherboard over here. Now with the motherboard in place, I'm gonna go ahead and just screw in all the motherboard screws. Just of course, make sure everything aligns properly. So now that we have all the screws on the motherboard, let's go ahead and screw down the radiator. Now the cool thing about the 5000D, like the 7000D, is we can take off the back plate where I laid down the radiator, and then we can properly situate it. Now because I have the board already set in there, I can't just lay it down. Right now I'm just measuring where I should put the liquid cooling unit. Okay. Now I'll just grab these screws and washers, comes with the liquid cooling unit. And I'm just gonna go ahead and align everything properly. All right, now that they're all in, let's go ahead and tighten everything up. All right, so now that we have the liquid cooling unit in place, the motherboard in place, actually looks really nice. Unfortunately, I ordered these fans and the top fans yesterday. I totally forgot about them, so they'll be here soon. So I'm gonna omit this from this build, but they'll be here soon enough. My other machine does have SSD, so one sec while I grab those. So actually, I will be using 2 trays. My workstation had a 500 gig and a terabyte Samsung SSD. So just gonna go ahead and attach them here. Now when it comes time for cabling, they're right here. Now, one thing I forgot is, will I be able to use these? Because having 3 M.2s in there is going to potentially on other motherboards disable the SATA ports. This will be interesting. All right, so we have the major parts of the system installed. I'm going to leave the video card for last because all the cables and everything, and the power supply for dead last because all the cables are going to come from that. I'm going to remove this tray again like I did in the previous build because the power supply will get in the way. I'm going to connect all the cables. Type C right down here. Audio as usual, all the way in the back. And let's see, USB 3.0 right over here. There's another 3.0 header right over here. I think I'm going to go ahead and use this one. Okay, and for the liquid cooling unit, ARGB, I'm going to slide it right down here on this pin right down here. Just going to slide it all the way through here, right down here, through the little grooves in the heat sinks here, because these are not going to get very hot. Then of course we're going to have all the wind and everything inside of the case, keeping everything nice and cool. And it's kind of nice the way everything just kind of blended in over here since everything's black here. Since I'm back here already, connect front panel HD audio, USB Type C. Now it looks like this case does not, it doesn't have any USB 2.0 connections, only has 3.0. Okay, and then for the controller right up here, the fan controller, here is the PWM cable. They slide it all the way down here, which on this board, since everything seems to be on the bottom, is definitely not a bad idea. Actually, it is a bad idea, so I'm gonna bring it up over here. Now USB 3.0, since I'm here. Twist these cables a little bit just to make them look nicer. For the liquid cooling unit pump. Perfect. The liquid cooling unit, actually, I forgot, we're not gonna have it there. So I will bring this back down over here. For the front panel header, we'll go ahead, slide these cables right down here, behind everything. At this point, we'll go ahead and pop in the power supply. I'm gonna go ahead and already prepare these. Kind of sad now that I'm not going to be using the liquid cooling unit up at the very top, because then you're gonna see this a lot more. The cable's coming down, and not happy with the ATX 24 pin being right here, because then the cable either has to come through here or through here. Actually, it has to come through up here because the video card will be right over here. All right, now the power supply. So as we saw before, I put the two EPS 8-pin connections. Now I'm just going to move all of these cables that we slid in already, and then I'll slide in the power supply. Fan face down because we have a filter on the bottom. Oh, and I didn't realize this eco mode. Now, great design on the case, on the power supply, because I forgot to connect these two, but thankfully they're right up here, so easy enough to get to. Okay, now I've already connected all the other cables that are needed, so we'll start with the one I hate the most, the ATX 24 pin. I hate it because it is so large and so out of place. If and when they do replace the ATX 24 pin, I hope it's a much thinner cable that fits places much easier. So that's the reason why I put the fan cable right over here, because the ATX was going to come over here. Now if I wanted to, which I will, I can make it look like that so it's one cable. Now the video card is going to go here, so there's going to be some cables coming out of the grommet right over here. Or maybe right up the top as well, I'm not sure yet. Moving these cables, we need to power this and we need to power this. I put two SATA power cables, but I think, or maybe I only put one. Yeah, I only put one. So hopefully that's enough. Yeah, it's enough. Nope, I'll need a second one. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll slide the cable through here. Perfect. So I'll keep this one connected, just hidden. Who knows when I'll need it again. Now the PCIe cables, we'll go ahead and slide them in here. So I have two 6+2s, separate strand. And this one on its own strand, unfortunately, has the pigtail. Now I'll go ahead and not use it, but hate the fact that it's there. So, 1, 2. I forgot the SATA ports, so we'll just connect them here. And if anything, if they don't work, because the SATA ports get disabled, so we'll just connect it here just in case if the SATA ports do actually get disabled, which I'm expecting they do, but I didn't see it in the manual. We can just either move it down or maybe not be able to use those SATA drives whatsoever, or I'll switch them around. Not a big deal either which way. SATA drives connected. Go ahead and install the video card. One of the struggles here is going to be, we're going to be sliding the cables under here and the fan is right here. So we're going to have to keep the cables under here, but back here towards the side of the card, trying to hide as much of the cable as possible, and then also not obstruct airflow by blocking anything down here. need to fix this. It's bothering me. All right, so let's install Windows. So now we're going to turn on the machine for the first time. We're going to go into the BIOS and then do a BIOS flash, configure the BIOS, then install the OS and all the drivers. All right, so we're going to turn the machine on for the first time. Sweet. And we're going to start tapping to go into the BIOS as soon as we see something on the screen. I'm also screen recording so you can see what I'm seeing. So we are on, not sure which BIOS, but that's okay. We'll go over here to M-Flash. Do you want to enter flash mode? Yes. Okay, now that we are in flash mode, we can see the very first one, generic flash disk. That's the one we want. Here are the BIOS files I've already downloaded along with all the drivers. And then here is the latest BIOS. Sure you want to select this file? Yes. All right, and this will update me from v1.g4 to v1.h1. All right, so now in the new BIOS, we'll go over here and just turn on XMP. We'll come down to memory. We'll see here 32 gigs, 32 gigs. It is 64 gigs of 3200 megahertz, 1620/2038. All right, so that's all good there. Storage, these are the 2 SSDs, and these are the 3 M.2 SSDs. So beautiful, everything is showing up. Okay, let's go to F7 and settings. Advanced. Let's enable resizable bar, which goes ahead and enables everything else for us. Let's see. So let's see, profile 2, same thing. So we can always raise the DRAM frequency, but you don't ever want to overclock on an install of Windows after you're in Windows. Okay. And then boot. So I just popped in the Windows 11 thumb drive. Now the hard part, on the reboot, will it know which one to boot to? All right, let's go. Whoa. did it for me. We'll let it go to 2 for now. Alright, now with this installed, we'll go ahead and copy all the drivers. Now you don't need to copy all of them. You can run them from the thumb drive. But I like to be a little cautious. So now we're on our C drive and install chipset first. Now let's stop that from asking us what configuration do we want to put into. Current. So I know this was a little bit different than my regular videos. My regular videos, I walk you through each and every step, explaining everything I do. That way you know exactly what I'm doing and you can even explain it to your friends. But in this particular video, since it was from my personal workstation where I'm editing this video, I just wanted to build a machine quickly. That way I can get back to video editing, bring you bigger and better videos because my workstation died. So I'm happy that I could bring you along for the ride. Now, if you want to see a video almost exactly on this build, check out the end card and the link above. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, as always, please do let me know down below. Iggy with ThisBytesForYou out. See you guys.